recording. We're live on Facebook. Waiting for the Facebook to stream. Didn't work. Guess I should start the Facebook and then start the recording. Then we have all this time on the recording when nothing's happening. But hoping this will work.
Yeah, please double check if it's recording or not, because
Did you
last
get
time,
the?
yeah, okay, very good. Last time it didn't.
Okay, so something's going on with the Facebook. Connection keeps timing out. And all right, well, let's get started. And I'll keep trying to put us into I'll keep trying to connect us to do this live stream on the Facebook, but at least we'll have the recording anyway. So let's see. Yes, I see that it shows that it's recording, and people should have got a little note to say that they, to tell them to approve the recording. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Online Chapters Education Committee open forum meeting. We hold these meetings on the third Wednesday of every odd month. So January being odd, we are hosting our meeting, and we are very happy and lucky to have a guest speaker with us today. And first, I want to introduce our team, the Education Committee that brings these to you, Sriram Matabushi and Phil Suter. Thank you, gentlemen. You make life easier for me or possible for us to put these on. And Sriram, would you like to introduce our special speaker of the day? Our illustrious guest speaker that we're so excited to have. Sorry, I sidelined Sriram. He's like, "What do you mean? I thought I was just coming on for the ride." But if you will be so kind to do that, then I'll be able to try again with the
Sriram is
Facebook.
muted.
Oh, are you talking, Sriram? Sorry, you're muted.
Sorry about that. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
I'm sorry about that. Yes, I think we have a wonderful speaker. If for those of you who have been in the better investing circles, he's been a long-standing member, and especially of the Space Coast Model Club, and um, now he's a member of the North Florida chapter. And before he started all this back in 1974, right after high school, he went into Navy, and 20 years later he retired, and software technology since then, and stockbrokers after that. So he has a wonderful and colorful career, and brought to where he is as a stockbroker. And it's our pleasure to invite him to give this presentation on AI. Sam, please take over.
Well, hello, everyone. So I did this presentation about 6 months ago at the Space Coast Model Investment Club, and Bob Huell asked me to present this here. So I'm very happy to do that. And like it says, it's an introduction to artificial intelligence. So I'm really only going to scratch the surface and hopefully whet your appetite and encourage you to go look at some of the artificial intelligence tools that are available. I'm not doing stock analysis, a full-scale stock analysis of any stock, but I do have some chatbot results to show on this, and maybe someone else can take a look at doing a full-scale stock analysis using AI sometime in the future. So standard disclaimer, this is for information purposes. I'm not recommending any stock. I do have some companies that have stock that I'll be mentioning, but I'm not making any endorsements for them. And this is being recorded. So caveat, artificial intelligence is nothing new, but it's really moving fast now. I started this, well, it was a few months ago when I first wrote this, but this information in some cases is already outdated. But I saw an article that said the theory or the idea of artificial intelligence was first mentioned in 1956. And a few days later, I saw another article that said it was actually 1951. So technology wasn't available then, but it's really moving fast. So whatever I mentioned today, let's just say tomorrow, it might not be exactly correct. So I made a lot of updates to this presentation, and I keep going and keep going. I finally had to say, better is the enemy of good enough. Because I could keep going. I could keep writing on this for days and days and days, and I just had to quit. Oops. Well, guess what? I made the mistake of going to ChatGPT and ask one simple question, and that just got me going, so that I just had to do more and more and more. So I did. So what I did is I took my original presentation, and some of these questions, I went to a chatbot, and asked the question. I said, what is artificial intelligence? And this is exactly what was output. Artificial intelligence refers to the simulation of human intelligence. Machines can be programmed to think, learn, problem solve, and just do many of the things that humans would do. There's some that do speech recognition, understanding languages, translating languages, play games, solve very complex problems. And the core idea is to create machines or software in the machines that process data and identify patterns, and use those identifications to produce useful results or useful information to solve problems. So some of the types of AI is narrow AI, which is really what's mostly in use today. Think of things like Siri and Netflix and Amazon recommendations, some of their algorithms, some facial recognition. But then there's general AI, and it's much stronger. And that starts bringing in the ability to understand and to learn. So many computer programs, they're written to solve a problem, but they don't learn from the solution to then use that solution in solving the next problem. But that's what they want to do with this. And then a third form of AI is super intelligent, and that's completely theoretical, and it involves trying to surpass the human brain or the human intelligence in every aspect of creativity and decision making. So we will see that later, but that's not something that's really out there yet. And it continued on. Some of these were multi-pages. So some of the types are machine learning, enable systems to learn from different data inputs, and improve over time. And then, like I said, natural language processing. generate human language and interpretations between different languages. I don't know if any of you have seen it, but there are some phone applications where you can speak into the phone in one language, it'll translate it into a different language, and then output that into through your speaker to talk to another person. With my time in the Navy, that would have been very helpful because I was stationed in various countries around the world. It was difficult to communicate with people, but that may not be a problem here soon. And then computer vision, understand visual information, understanding images and videos, being able to tell the difference between a tomato and an apple, or one type of dog versus another type that might be a coyote or something that looks similar. And then robotics. That's been going on for a long time. And we're now seeing it with semi-autonomous and self-driving cars. So you think Tesla, a Tesla self-driving car, that's really not much more than a robotic or a robot. Takes a lot of money, a lot of input. It takes a lot to do that, but that's basically what we're looking at. And then this says, you know, AI has applications across many industries. Many is the key word. I think we're going to eventually see AI in almost every industry. But for now, we've got healthcare, finance, manufacturing, entertainment, transportation, education. And again, the list is just going to keep going on and on. We'll keep building on that. So as we continue, it has a lot of room for improvement. It'll create efficiency, creativity, decision making. But in the end, everything that's got a good side has the potential for a bad side. What about ethics and privacy? What about job displacements? You know, who's going to lose their job because of AI? Well, there's probably going to be some. So the next question I asked was, how does artificial intelligence work? And the source for this was also ChatGPT. And I have links to the chatbots that I use. I'll show them at the very end. Excuse me. So artificial intelligence works through, the combination of algorithms and machine language learning techniques and data processing and just on and on. But if you look at it, it's kind of you collect data, input it, you take algorithms to process it, you take the machine learning aspect and use that for training, and then you build models to represent whatever you're modeling for, and it could be different things. And then of course you got to test and evaluate that, make sure that when you output some information that it's correct. We have seen some areas where it's not correct, and I have an example of that. Then use predictions and decision making, and then continuous learning and feedback. So start the process over. Just keep doing that in a big cycle until you continue to just improve and improve. So some of the key concepts from how does artificial intelligence work. Neural networks, which is basically trying to model the human brain, consisting of layers of neurons that process information. Deep learning, which is a more complex version of the neural networks, including many more layers. And this is where you get into image recognition and language translation. Natural language processing, the interpretation, generate human language, like chatbots, voice assistants like Siri and Alexa. Computer vision, interpret visual information and be sure to recognize objects. So you put it all together, and AI works by ingesting, it says large amounts, it's really huge amounts of data. I don't know if you've seen some of the articles. They're talking about the amount of data that's going to be needed to be stored and to be processed. We may not have enough electricity on the grid to be able to do that. Bill Gates is talking about buying and re-energizing 3 Mile Island, so a nuclear power plant in order to power some of this. So it's a huge thing. But the whole goal is to make perform tasks easier, better, in areas like healthcare, finance, customer service, entertainment, just everywhere, including investing. So I asked Britannica chatbot, what's the upside of artificial intelligence? And it goes in and says, it can handle routine and complex tasks, can be used for safety to perform some of the dangerous tasks, make sure that it's got automated safety checks, improve personal convenience, optimizing navigation. In GPS, I think Google Maps is using AI in their algorithms to determine how to get from point A to point B. Home automation with the Siri and the Alexa, and turning on and off lights and changing temperatures and controlling an entire house from a single location. Healthcare, diagnosing patient care. We've seen a lot of that, and I think what we're going to see is an AI can look at images, X-rays, or MRIs, and probably focus in on problems that doctors may not be able to notice or may not be able to see. And of course, an AI wouldn't have a specialty. It would just try to analyze for anything and everything. Whereas a surgeon or a specific doctor, say a cancer specialist, may be looking at an image for cancer. It may not be any cancer, but an AI might say, but there's this other problem. In education, I think we can, if it's implemented properly, we can really improve the education system. Kids can sit down and work on a problem, and some children will go a little bit faster, and their system can go a little bit faster, and the teacher can notify or be notified if a student's falling behind a little bit, and maybe give them a little bit of additional help to get them to keep up with the program, keep up with the grade. And then again, automating mundane tasks. Who wants to sit there and do the same thing over and over and over? Computer doesn't care. They'll do it. So then if there's an upside, what's the downside? Well, job displacement. The idea is probably some people are going to lose their job. But I kind of look at that with a little different viewpoint. Some people say, well, the automobile, that technology came around. Now, where are all the blacksmiths? We don't have any blacksmiths. We have only a few, and I disagree. I say we have just as many blacksmiths as we've always had. They just changed their name to automotive mechanic. So blacksmith took care of the horse and buggy. Automotive mechanic takes care of the engine and the rest of the car. So I think we're going to see a lot of shift in employment. Bias and fairness. If it's not implemented properly, you could have a problem with there's some unfair or discriminatory outcomes, such as law enforcement, hiring, lending. There's also privacy risks. What happens with all our private data that goes out on the internet? They're going to be sucking all of that into their data and storing that. So that hasn't come out to be a big problem yet, but I foresee privacy is going to be a big concern. And then accountability. What happens when an AI solution is wrong, but somebody implements it? Somebody's got to take responsibility for that. And then ethical concerns. What happens if these AIs infringe on people's rights, our freedoms. That's going to have to be decided. That's going to have to be solved. So here's an example, downside of AI, and I'm skipping over a lot of it, but the link at the bottom will take you to the full article. So an individual, a man, he bought a house and he wanted a home warranty. So he bought a home warranty and his air conditioner broke. So he went online and there was a chat bot and he said, you know, my air conditioner broke. It's under your home warranty. Can I get the maximum $3,000 payout? And the chatbot said, I will order and get it, or he said, I will order it and install it myself. So the chatbot agreed, saying, we will proceed with the payout option of $3,000 as per your request. Well, he was assured several times, money's on its way. So he went ahead, spent the money, did all the work, got everything done, and money never showed up. So he contacted the company and got a hold of somebody in the company, and they said, well, that's a miscommunication with the chatbot. That's not our responsibility, and we're not going to pay it. In the case of your air conditioner, we don't think it would fall under this warranty. So he contacted the Division of Consumer Protection. I think he went through one of those TV shows with the consumer advocates, and the Division of Consumer Protection made it clear a company can't ignore agreements made by their AI software. Well, the company argued the software is not an employee, and the Consumer Protection said a robot can be a representative of the company and you're responsible for your representatives. So in the end, it worked out for him. He got his money, but these are going to happen all the time. So somebody's going to have to, courts are eventually get involved. The consumer protection agencies aren't going to solve all the problems. Then I went to perplexity.ai chatbot, and I asked, what are the business applications of AI? And it came back and said consumer service, data analysis and insights, process automation, personalization, predictive analysis, cybersecurity, supply chain and logistics optimization, marketing and sales, human resources, financial services, healthcare, manufacturing. It ended there, but I'm sure it could have continued on. Because you think about it from a human resources, if I'm sure many of you have been in a situation where you had to hire someone and human resources plops 100 resumes on your desk and you say, what am I going to do with that? So you're left with trying to go through and find a candidate out of all of this. Well, AI can look through and evaluate and make comparisons and and maybe give you a stack of 5 and say, here's the 5 best candidates that may meet the criteria you're looking for. And financial, you can find out if the security of the finance institution, maybe do some, make sure that transactions are legitimate. And then again, we've already talked about healthcare. So by implementing these, businesses can really improve their operational efficiency, reduce costs, enhance customer experience, and in the end, gain a competitive edge against their competitors. But don't forget, AI still makes mistakes. So be sure to check your results. So if you look here, I talked about the based on capabilities, artificial intelligence based on capabilities. I didn't go into these based on functionalities. I think I have some stuff at the very end that I'm not going to present today because it'll just go on forever. But there's AIs that's based on functionalities. So we're going to go into generative AI, which falls under the general AI or the strong AI. So generative AI, this is not from a chatbot. This is what I had put. Systems capable of creating content such as images, videos, music, text, and things that should be nearly indistinguishable from human generated content. Well, if looking at what I had copy and pasted from the chatbots, those look like human generated content. It didn't, to me, it didn't look like it was came out of a robot or out of a computer system, but it interpreted my question and sent out a response. When I was looking on YouTube, listening to a automotive video, I'm one of those cheap or frugal people that doesn't pay for YouTube, and I get interrupted every so often with advertisement. And this one advertisement had people jogging through the park and having a good time and smiling. And then I noticed it said it's AI. So I clicked on it, and none of those people in that were real. They were all artificial intelligence generated. And I didn't know. I thought it was people running in the park. I tried to find the video and see if I could do a screen capture. And unfortunately, when you go to their website, they show still pictures of those people, but they didn't show the video itself. And I never ran across it again, but if, I would have liked to. So generative adversarial networks is an example of AI, where one network generates content and another network will evaluate it and provide feedback to the first network. So, they're stacking these up and taking these networks to do specific areas of artificial intelligence and solve different problems. So I think this is way underestimated, but this is the estimated spending in artificial intelligence. And if you look at 2025, it says we're just going to just barely cross 200 billion. I think that's way underrated. Now, by 32 will be over in about 1.3, 1.4 trillion dollars. I think you could probably double most of these bars and be a little bit more accurate. So who's in the game? Well, everybody, not everybody, but many, many, many people and companies are in the game from the user aspect. And here's a small list of the big time implementers. So Microsoft, NVIDIA, they do the hardware with their graphics processing units. Of course, Google and Alphabet, and Meta Platforms. Well, Mark Zuckerberg's crazy about AI. Apple, Oracle, Amazon, and of course Tesla with their self-driving cars. So I'm not going to go through all of the excerpts, but I just want to show. So Microsoft, in their one section of Embracing Our Future, had 5 bullets talking about artificial intelligence and what they're doing to advance the artificial intelligence. And NVIDIA, the leader in the graphics processing unit business, they're talking about how they want to use AI, automotive artificial intelligence, a cockpit, autonomous driving. So Alphabet, they took their Google research brain team and merged it with their DeepMind team, and they're trying to accelerate the progress in artificial intelligence. Of course, Mark Zuckerberg, he's really into artificial intelligence, and he's just headstrong, and he's really plowing forward. Apple's a little bit secretive. They've always been. They don't say really much of anything in their 10K, but they're firmly planted in the AI business. Oracle, of course, they're the big database machine out there. So they want to do as much as they can with AI and use that to get their results out of the databases faster and their cloud infrastructure. And Amazon, they want to use that to predict market and predict sales and see what they can make sure they have in stock what they think people are going to buy. Tesla, of course, I've mentioned them a few times. Self-driving automobiles, they're just basically robots out there. But here, R&D expenses increased 182 million, or 12%, in 6 months. So they increased their R&D for artificial intelligence by 12% for a 6-month period. So that's 182 million. That's a scratch in the bucket in today's terms. That's probably double or triple today. So yeah, sky's the limit. There's just way too much to mention here. And the key is we don't know what we don't know. There's a lot of innovative people out there working on AI, and they seem to be all going into the direction of just more and more and more. Somebody's going to take a left turn and find a different version of AI out there, and we'll have to just keep seeing what comes out. This was my first question. What are the virtues of artificial intelligence? That's what got me started updating this presentation. Originally, every slide I had researched and documented and typed in, but this was my first one. And it went on to say, the virtues are efficiency and accuracy, scalability, automation of repetitive tasks, personalization, problem solving, continuous learning and improvement, enhanced human potential, access to knowledge, safety and risk reduction, environmental impact. Make sure the environment is okay, because it is going to take a lot of electricity. And like I said, Bill Gates is talking about reopening 3 Mile Island. So not everybody's happy with the idea of nuclear power. And it's available 24/7. They never sleep. So you can keep working. So now the whole reason we're here is investing. So we have SSG and SSG Plus. Now, what about SSG Plus AI version? Right? We can take some, it'll take some time, some programming, some data capturing, but the AI could analyze the value lines and the Morningstar reports right away. And rather than us going through and checking the numbers, is the PE good? Is the EPS good? What's the bottom line? AI can snap that together for you in a few seconds and update the projections, kind of like the preferred procedure, but it would be an AI version of it. And I put in a near perfect world, SSG plus AI would have the same results as ours, probably better. I'm going to change that. It's going to be better. I really think AI is going to be able to evaluate that better. One of the areas we look at the information on the value line, and we do some evaluation of the company and the industry and the sector, but what AI could go in and evaluate the CEO or the CFO or anybody on the board and say, well, what did they do the last 3 or 4 or 5 jobs? Was the CEO successful in building the company in previous jobs, or did they cause the company to take a downward spiral? We don't do that now, at least I don't, and I haven't talked to any others that do, but AI could do that for you very simply. So conclusion, if you ever thought I was going to get here, well, we're really far from creating machines that solve all the issues and are self-aware, but we're in that direction. And I think if we focus our efforts toward understanding how machines can train and learn on their own and possess the ability to base decision on past experiences, they will start doing more like humans and saying, well, I remember doing this before and I know how to do this, and I can take this information and learn and continue to grow. So some additional information. That was pretty much the end of the presentation, but here's some examples. If you download this, you can click on some examples where there was some bad artificial intelligence. One, this is focused on automobiles, but I thought it was a good video. A city chatbot gave bad legal advice. There was a class action lawsuit on Siri, because the idea in Siri, it's supposed to sit there passive and you use some code word like hello Siri or whatever it is. I don't have one, and then it would wake up and you can ask it a question. Well, it wasn't sleeping. It was eavesdropping 24 hours a day. So that's where we get into the privacy aspect. Then the New York Times accused ChatGPT of violating copyright. They were ingesting the newspaper and using that information from the newspaper. Well, that's copyrighted material. You can't do that. You can't just use that without paying for it or something. And so they went to court on that. Then thousands of bad parking tickets were issued by AI cameras on buses. Then police arrested someone, but instead of using all of their tools to verify, they used artificial intelligence and arrested someone. It took him 2 years to get out of that. So that was definitely a bad part of artificial intelligence. Some other links, these are a little bit more positive. 10 AI news investors shouldn't miss. And I think in here, there's links to top 30 artificial intelligence stocks, and it just goes on. And then some information about how the drug industry is using it, how the entire healthcare is using it. And then a little something on the eavesdropping and surveillance. That one wasn't so positive, but and here's some links to the 3 chatbots that I used and put the information. Perplexity, Britannica, and ChatGPT. I came across some others, but again, I'm too frugal to pay to use them, so I skipped those. And then the rest of this is just more junk I left in. It was information that I used as part of the research, and I either just didn't use it because it was too much, and I wanted to hurry this up. But it goes on and on and on with a whole bunch of stuff. But that's it for that. Does anybody have any questions for me? I think I went over my 20-minute limit, but I always do that.
Mel Krotzer here. Just curious about how you would apply some of these AI large language models to doing stock investigation.
So here is an example. I went out to ChatGPT and I asked, can you analyze Fortinet stock? I only picked that because Space Coast owns that. I'm not suggesting anybody else do that, but ChatGPT and says, sure, I can provide analysis. So it gave me an overview and financial performance, gave me revenue growth, profitability, talked about market trends, some security aspects, the valuation, who their competitors are, what the risks are, investor sentiment. Now it was old, but using this would give you enough information to say, do I want to go any further with this stock, or do I want to stop here? And in this case, I might say, it sounded pretty good. I might go ahead and go. So it asked me if I wanted more information. I said, yes. It didn't like that answer. It said, would you clarify and pick one of these areas? So I think I picked stock performance and trends. So it went and turned that 3-page report into 4 pages just on that one topic. So I think someday there will be a specific analysis tool like an SSG. But right now, just ask a question and it will give you a pretty good answer. Is that what you were looking for?
Yes, and I'm curious if others who are listening in how they might apply it. I might add that you can ask. Well, I use Gemini. Okay, that was probably another chatbot. That's for Google.
Yes.
That you can ask questions. You can do a SWOT analysis. Now, this is an idea originally mentioned by Suzanne Koster in a Bink. And if you do that, you get kind of a really nice summary of the strengths and weaknesses of the stock. It's usually kind of in general. So if you can ask the chatbot to do a SWOT analysis and then provide some additional information, like focusing specifically on maybe competition. You mentioned before something about CEOs, so you add a little bit more information there. I find that's a very good summary that brings up information that you might, not see on a Morningstar or a value line, if you kind of just focus on those. I'm also looking into how I can, scrape data off of some of these. And I'm finding out that's not as simple as you might think. Maybe it is, but I'm still investigating that. But anyway, I'm just kind of curious, any other people who are, working, they're trying to use these large language models to facilitate their analysis.
Just a comment. I think it was in the November Ticker Talk that they were talking. It was on the subject of artificial intelligence, and in their 5 and 5, I think one of the items it was talked about was Morningstar, in terms of apparently it is getting into artificial intelligence to accelerate its analysis of different stock performances as well. Just a comment for whatever it's worth.
Well, I think at some point it's going to be pretty much everywhere, and Morningstar has competitors, so they're going to want to make sure that their product is the best out there for what the investors want, and it's everywhere.
Yeah. No, good presentation, Sam. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, some points I want to make is some of the jobs we are talking about, eliminated. Anything that can be routinely and repetitively accomplished, those jobs are going to be going away. For example, if somebody does a stock analysis and that's what they do, I will see a potential for many of the brokerage firms not having too many people there anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Then you talked about medical diagnosis. I read an article, some doctor tried to put all his information into AI and continuously for some period of time he would try to, he said most of them were some kind of misdiagnosis. So there's also a potential for wrong diagnosis.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes, and you've seen the all kinds of 6-fingered people on the generative AI side, all over the place.
I understand, but right now there's a wonderful potential for misdiagnosis as it already exists. That just AI offers you the opportunity to do it on a much more massive scale.
Yep, without accountability. Yeah,
Of course, you can feed hundreds of years of data on a topic, the medical field, where doctors are in the medical field for 30, 40, 50 years. And then a new doctor comes in and a new doctor comes in. And, we start as kids and we have to start learning from the ground up. Well, the AI systems, they remember what they were taught 100 years ago. And in a perfect world, or in the best circumstance, they would know what information is no longer useful.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, eventually we'll get there. Yeah, one of the things you were talking about, if you looked at the most recent NVIDIA quarterly report, they were talking about increasing their footprint in the data center operations. And that if that becomes, that company will be going up and up and up in the value. Yeah, so those are some of my observations as far as AI.
I agree.
I have a question. You were using Chat GPT, and I think it's trained on data that's, or it used to be trained on data that just went through, I think, 2023 or something like that. Has that been updated? Do you know? And did you?
I don't know that for sure. I know that in the case of the one that I asked about for the Fortinet, 2023, I think it was second quarter of 2023 was the most they had on that. But I asked it some questions that were more work related, not investing related, and some of the information was fairly recent. I think it's going to be a long time before we have enough people and processes to input the data to really keep up to date, brand new. But we'll get there. But yeah, I agree. Some of it may be a little bit old. And like in the case of this one that I did, I could have done 100 of them, but I just picked this one because it was in my mind.
Right.
And I just said, do analysis on it. But to me, I'm going to use this in the future for other stocks to tell me, throw it away and go to somebody else, or go a little further, check out this company. It may be worth something.
Yeah, I
And
know
then
Gemini.
I'm
Well,
so,
go ahead.
then I'll do the same analysis I would have done before. I'll take all the numbers and I'll get the value line and I'll bring up SSG and I'll do all of that. But why do all that if chatbot can tell me, the company's going downhill?
So I know Gemini scrapes or gets its data, or it was trained on basically the internet, and I think that's true for some of the other chatbots. What's the one that Meta uses? Claude. So anyway, these are interesting to play around with. I might say about Perplexity. Perplexity will, if you ask it about a topic, it'll give you references. You should check.
Yes, I forgot to mention that. Yes,
Yeah,
they
that's
give
kind of neat.
excellent references.
But you have to check them. I mean,
Yes.
like Gemini will give you references too when I ask it to do something. And I found that when I clicked on the reference, it was something completely different. It really was a hallucination. So you do have to be careful about that. But I think that's Perplexity. I think advertises itself as if you're going to search a subject, rather than Googling something, you would go and do it on Perplexity, and then they would give you this list of references if you want to follow up on it. So I think that's a nice feature, Perplexity.
Well, actually, I did take the one question I think I took, what is artificial intelligence? And I think it was ChatGPT is the one I used in that case. And it gave me that nice little report that took about 3 pages on the slides. So I took that and I copy and pasted my question into a standard search engine. I got 9 pages of links to go figure it out yourself. And not all those links were useful.
Yeah.
But I had to go figure that out.
Wonderful. Any other questions for Sam?
Well, this is Bob. Sam, have you worked with a Google product called Notebook LM?
No, I haven't heard of
Oh.
that one.
You might want to check that one out. It's different from all the others in the sense that you do the training of it. It processes the stuff, but it's they say it's completely private. Whatever you put in there, you can put confidential stuff in there, business records and stuff, and they say it doesn't leave your computer, but they do the processing so you can analyze it. One of the things I did is I took all 50 Buffett annual letters and put it in. And then I asked a question and, traced his evolution on how he thinks about certain things. And, early on, he was talking about the best indicator of how a company is doing is the book value. Be watching the book value and all that. But then he and Munger somewhere midstream, and it can tell you, it gives you the references too. It tells you that's not valid anymore. He goes on, and it's the intrinsic value. That's what we're all talking about now. But it's really is fascinating. Pretty easy to use. It's free. And I use it for a bunch of different things. But the more interesting one was just getting the Buffett stuff.
I'm impressed that you had you said you put 50 items in there. I know that's what's advertised is you could put in several documents and then ask questions and it'll take information from each document and summarize it. But that's kind of amazing. Yeah, 50.
Yeah, this pulls it all together. And you ask it, okay, where does Buffett differ from Munger? Or actually, I did an analysis, compare Buffett to George Nicholson. And it really came back. They've got common education. They're both the same age, this, that, the other stuff. Buffett, his contribution to our world is the letters and going to colleges and stuff and doing things. Nicholson's contribution is us, encouraging us to form investment clubs and learn from each other and everything. I'm thinking about doing a education topic for the Space Coast Model Club on that, doing a side-by-side comparison with the bottom line. You find out Buffett's great, but he wouldn't. It's going to be harsh when I say he was in it for himself. He's making his billions, and he's kind of letting everybody know how he did it. But it's not really relevant to how we're going to be able to do it. Nicholson says you can do it. You get in an investment club, listen to each other, share ideas, and here are the bang, 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 bang things that you need to do. So it's really a nice parallel thing. Next time my number comes up, that's probably what the one I'll do on. But and for the Buffett, if you want to do it, get on Notebook LM, and then get on Buffett's Buffett.com or something like that, and you can download the PDFs. You download all 50 and just stick them in. It was really, really easy.
Hey, Chris, we have a speaker for upcoming meetings, one of the meetings. Bob is going to do that, right, Bob?
You just have to ask me when I'm not on a cruise.
Yeah.
It's a very small window, Bob.
We'll work with you.
If you're going to use Notebook LM, you do have to have a Google account. That I guess
Oh, yeah.
that's the only thing.
Yeah.
Implied.
So you don't even have to use Google Mail or anything. You just register for Google.
Awesome.
Where are the
Anybody
handouts? I
else?
said, Sam, when you're working up, you sent us a whole bunch of handouts, but maybe it's my ignorance. I don't know where on the screen where you can download them. Are they here?
Yeah, I think I sent 10 or 12. Think most of them were the 10 Qs that I used to pull those information for the different companies. But I should have this Word document that shows the results of my question in ChatGPT, and then the presentation itself.
Yeah, another shameless plug. If you go into the First Cuts archive and you look up, I think it's Halogen, HALO. It's the first cut that I did. And if you go into the notes, I put in the link to the what they call the chat that I had with, I think it was ChatGPT, but it's in there. And you can actually see the questions. One of the things when you're working, you've got to, even if you're using ChatGPT or the others, you have to train them. You don't start off asking them, is this a good company? You got to go in and you got to ask the basic things. How does it make money and who are the competitors? And after a while, it comes back. It says basically words to the effect, based on the material that you provided me, plus our conversation. And what it was saying was, you've been giving me information. You've made me think about things in a different way. And now I'm going to come back and provide you a more comprehensive and focused response to the question you just asked, plus all your future questions. Another thing I would say, and then I'll shut up, but when you get through with the whole session, ask it, you tell me, I treat it like an intern or something. This has been very helpful and all that. What questions should I have asked you? And it comes back in, it gives you a whole list of here's the thing. And I look at it and say, okay, I was getting ready to say goodbye, but I want to ask you this question, and now this question, and this question. And it just goes on and on as I go on. I'll be quiet.
No, good
Good job,
discussion, good
Sam.
questions.
Made
Thank
us proud.
you. Anybody else has any questions? Hey, Chris, do you have any word of advice? Parting words?
Sure. One thing that someone said to me, can you hear me okay? Because I took off my headphones. One thing that someone said to me that really made an impact on me about AI was that when we learn something, we learn it, like using the doctor example. But when AI learns something, it goes and tells all of its friends. So AI is not just learning for itself. Anything you teach it, it's sharing with all the AI, with its whole big family, if you want to look at it that way, which is why it's able to get so much smarter so much more quickly, because we're teaching it. So the question of, are we really using data that isn't that current? Well, that was the case when it first rolled out, but we've been teaching it new stuff right along. So it's really kind of cool, right? If everything that Sriram learned, if I would instantly learn it at the same time, imagine how much smarter we'd both be if we just could simultaneously share knowledge. So yeah, it's a pretty cool, exciting thing. And Sam, I really appreciate you helping us think about how we can apply this to our investing life.
Oh, you're welcome.
Hey, Sam, are you going to share your presentation with us?
I already sent it in.
Okay.
I sent
Yep.
in There was 10, 12 or so documents.
And
But the two that are really important are the actual the presentation itself that you can expand on and click on some of the links, and then this Word document that just kind of shows the results of my 2 questions.
Awesome. Thank you.
And all of that will be on the BI website on the online chapters page. And if you just go to, I think it's called news and events or something like that, you scroll down and you'll see the link to this presentation on Facebook and, sorry, the link to this presentation on our YouTube page and all of the slides and all the handouts that Sam has shared with us.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Have a great night, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, Sam.